Let me tell you something. The relationship that you have with your co-teachers will make or break your experience in Korea. Hi everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking onto this video. My name is Letty Maps and welcome to Letty Maps the World. I am a South African who is currently living in South Korea, where I work as an English teacher. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you guys so much for coming back. Thank you for taking the time out of your beautiful day to watch this video. So today's video is going to be part 2 of my Q&A live update video. So if you have not watched part 1, I would advise you to watch part 1 right after this video since you're already here. So just watch this video and then watch the first part. I am so happy with how well the first part is doing. I posted it I think a week ago and it's already on 1,300 views and I am very excited. So thank you guys for watching the video, for leaving all the comments. I have not commented on the comments, but after recording this video I'm gonna go and comment on all your comments. And thank you so much for sharing the videos. And I also received some messages on Instagram where people were telling me that they really enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. In the last video, in part 1, I talked about how I separated or divided my questions into categories. So we have 11 categories, and in the first part I answered questions from the first 4 categories, and these categories are, let me get my laptop because they are all typed. Everything is all typed here. I got so many questions that I felt the need to just type them all. So this is it. Okay, so in the first video we spoke about questions from the first category, and that was life as a foreigner and a black woman in Korea. Category number 2 was homesickness and mental health. Category number 3 was dating in Korea, and number 4 was all about savings and finances. So today we are going to be talking about category number 5 until category 11, and the categories are pre and post Korea, and number 6 is South Africa versus South Korea, number 7 is going back to South Africa, and number 8 is life as a teacher, number 9 future plans, 10 future videos, and the last one is just trivial stuff and trivial questions. I am hoping that today's video is going to be shorter than the last video, because the last video was like 40 something minutes long, and that was like the longest video that I had ever made. And I have always been so scared to post longer videos because I'm just like, it might be too long, you know, people might get tired of watching or might get discouraged. People might get discouraged to watch the video because of how long it is. But the video that I posted, my longest video, is doing so well on YouTube. Like I said, in a week it has already gathered 1,300 views. So you know what, I think I'm just gonna leave this mentality of saying, oh, if you post longer videos people might not watch them, and just post. The people who enjoy my content will watch my videos regardless of how long they are. So yeah, let's get into the video and stop rambling, because I feel like that's what I'm doing right now. All right, so category number 5, pre and post Korea. This category only has 4 questions. So question number 1 is there anything you wish you'd done before you left home? Yep. Yes. When I left South Africa, it was during COVID times, like when COVID was still something very new, when we didn't know much about it. So because of that, I could not spend time with my friends and some of my family members, like my cousins, before I left South Africa. Like when I left South Africa, I had to like stay away from people about a month before I left, because I knew that if I contracted COVID, I was not going to leave the country. So I did not get to spend time with my other family, like my relatives as well as my friends. So I just wish that I had spent more time with them. Yeah. Question number 2 is, what has been the most useful item you've brought from home? I would say that it's spices. So I brought some 6 gun spices that are from home, and Oh my goodness, guys. The spices here, they don't hit like the spices from back home. You know, 6 gun, you can put it in like grilled meat, roasted meat, stew. And I'm so happy that I was able to bring the spices. So even when I go home and visit, I think I'm gonna come back with more spices. Yep. What have you brought from home that you haven't used? Heels. I have this pair of heels and I spoke about them in my what to pack videos. I've never worn them ever since I've been to Korea. Never worn them. And if I had known that I would never wear them, I wouldn't have brought them. And also some of my very formal dresses, because I was wearing this when I went to work today. So like the dress code at my work is kind of like semi-casual or semi-formal. So you don't find a lot of teachers in suits and tie. No, they're more relaxed, but then they still look very presentable. So some of the dresses and the skirts that I brought from home are very, very formal, and I have also never worn them. But this was because I didn't know about the dress code when I was coming over. And after a year, what would you say is the most important thing to pack for South Korea? I would definitely say that food, South African food, because you do get homesick a lot, and sometimes it's quite nice to nibble on something or to snack on something whenever you are missing home, or to be able to make yourself a South African meal whenever you are feeling homesick. So bringing some snacks or some South African food that you can bring, that is important, because the other things you can find them here in Korea quite easily, but not South African food. Yeah. So now we're going to be discussing questions from category 6, which is South Korea versus South Africa. So, what are the similarities and differences between SA and Korean culture? So, first of all, South Korea is a homogeneous country, which means that everyone in Korea is Korean. Yeah. Whereas in South Africa is a very, very diverse country, culturally diverse, ethnically diverse. That is like the main difference. Like in South Africa, we are termed the rainbow nation because of how a lot of South Africans look different, and we also speak different languages. So that is like the most obvious and evident differences. And the similarities that I have found was between the African cultures and the Korean cultures. I would say that it was like about Koreans do a lot of things for like their ancestors. Like they always give thanks to their ancestors. Like, you know, even during Chuseok, which is like the Thanksgiving, one of my coaches just explained that during Chuseok, Koreans go back to their hometowns and they have like moments where they give thanks to those who came before them. And that is also something that we do in our African cultures. Like we also give thanks sometimes to our ancestors as well. Like I know in Setswana, Khatere Phatla Badimo. So it was kind of interesting to see how far away Korea and South Africa are from each other, but then we still have some similarities in our cultures. So I find that to be very interesting. So the other question was South Africa versus South Korea. I'm going to say both, because both countries benefit me for different reasons. So right now I am in South Korea because of work, but South Africa is my home. South Africa is a country where I feel most at home and I feel like I belong. Because of Korea is a homogeneous country, every single time I walk out my apartment, I am reminded that I do not belong, and also I am not part of the society here, because Korea is for Koreans, if you are being honest. Like foreigners, we are not always catered to. Most of the time, you are not catered to. So South Africa is a place where I feel most at home, where I feel like I'm part of a community, part of a society, and where I feel like I most belong. But both countries benefit me in different ways. So I'm not going to say South Africa over South Korea or South Korea over South Africa. I'm just gonna say both. So what did you learn about yourself in the past year? For those who do not know, I have been in Korea for a little bit over a year now. So right now it's actually, it's the last day of September. It's the 30th of September. I came to Korea on the 6th of August 2021. So it has been just a little bit over a year since I have been in Korea. Okay, so before I used to describe myself as an impatient person, you know. I used to think that I was one of the people who were like, I want it and I want it now. But as a teacher, I realized that I am actually quite patient, because as a teacher, you have to be patient. Like, being patient is one of the characteristics that every teacher must have, because you are working with different children who are unique from each other, and they have different learning capabilities and different levels in English. So you could have a conversation with a child who can speak English close to fluency, and you could have a conversation with a child who is really struggling to answer the question, how are you? So you have to be very patient. So I'm a very patient person. Like, I have found that I'm a very patient person. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I learned about myself, that I am not as impatient as I thought that I was. You know, I'm patient. Okay, and what do you wish you knew before going to Korea? Honestly, I'm just going to say nothing. Nothing, honestly. Cause like when I came to Korea, I tried my best to not have any expectations, because these expectations can sometimes raise a lot of stereotypes, and stereotypes can sometimes prevent you from learning or fully immersing yourself into a culture. So I'm happy with what I knew about Korea, and also happy with what I have learned, or what I was shocked about culturally when I came to Korea. So nothing. I'm just gonna say nothing. And describe the past year in 5 words. This question reminds me of that Taylor Swift song. I think it's 22, where she goes like, yeah, we happy, free, confused, and lonely at the same time. It's miserable and magical, yay. Like, it really reminds me of that song, because the past year, I would describe the past year as challenging, confusing, amazing, growth, and enlightening. Like, those 5 words, those are the words that I would use to describe Korea. And now the last question in this category is, what are you loving about Korea? I am loving the life that I have built for myself in Korea, loving the friendships that I have created, and loving the person that I have become. Because I feel like ever since I've gotten to Korea, I've grown to be a more confident person. So confident that I even opened up a YouTube channel, and even now, guys, let me tell you, my first sit down video, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was not feeling confident, but it has gotten so much easier that I could sit right now and record a video and be like, I'm quite happy with that video. So I love the person that I have grown into, and the person that I'm growing into being. And I also love the relationships that I have made with my co-workers as well as my students. Like, my students make me so happy, guys. Like, some of the comments that they make, like, they're just amazing kids, and I love that relationship that I have made with them. And I also love that, and I also love the opportunity that it has given me to be financially financially independent from my parents. I spoke about this briefly in my last video, that about financial independence that I'm experiencing in Korea. That, you know, sometimes when you are still depending on your parents financially, even you can't get everything that you want, because of, like, you can only accept what your parents can afford. Good. And right now we are going to be answering questions from category 7, and category 7 is called Going Back to South Africa. So the first question was, how do holidays work there? So I think this person is meaning, like, how do school holidays work there? And I'm going to answer this question with the next question, because the next question is, are you able or allowed to visit back home during the school holidays? Yes, so you are allowed to do that. So the way the school holidays work, we have 2 holidays. We have the summer holidays, which starts from I'd say mid-July until like mid-August. So they're usually a month long, and we have a much longer holidays, which are the winter vacations, and they usually start in the beginning of January and they end like first week of March. So those ones are much longer. So you can always request to take some time off of work so that you can travel or like go back home. Yes, you are allowed to go back to your country. You just have to notify your school that you will be leaving the country. Yeah, but like you are allowed to leave. Your school's not gonna be like, oh no, you cannot go back to your country to visit. Yeah, you're allowed to leave. Obviously, COVID related stuff can always get in the way of you traveling to other countries, but besides all of that, you are allowed to go back and visit. Good. So the next question, love it. It's, what is the number one thing you are excited to do when you come back to South Africa? Eating. I just want to eat. Eating. Honestly, I want to eat kota. I want to have like fish and chips. I want to have like chips with Russians. I want to have magwinya leaf French polony on the inside. Oh my god, I want to have malamohodu. Yo! And see my family, obviously. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to eating some good South African food, obviously to see my family, because it has been so long since I last saw my family, to see my friends as well. So much has been happening in my friends' life that I've been missing, and vice versa. I'm really looking forward to seeing them in person, to just catching up. Like, I'm just excited to do that, you know. Yep. And what do you miss the most about South Africa besides your family and friends? I miss the diversity in South Africa, to be honest. I miss not standing out. Yeah, as I said before, South Africa is a very diverse country, like culturally diverse, ethnically diverse, even in languages as well. You could walk down the street in South Africa and then hear 4 languages being spoken. I mean, that is such a beautiful thing. Like, I miss that. I miss like being around a group of people and you find that they are speaking 3 different languages, but the conversation is flowing. Everyone is understanding each other. Everyone is understanding the jokes. I miss diversity. I miss going around and seeing people of different skin tones and skin colors as well. I just miss that. Like, I miss the diversity that is South Africa. Yeah, and the food too. What was the hardest adjustment you had to make? The hardest adjustment I had to make was living alone in my apartment. I am someone who also loves her own company, and who loves her own company, and I'm quite comfortable with being alone. But when I left home, I was living with my family because of, COVID. So I had to move back home and live with my family. And I have 2 younger siblings. My little brother is 12 years old and my little sister is going to be 15 years old very soon. And when I was living at home, obviously it was a little bit rowdy, chaotic and noisy. And then I had to come to Korea, where I'm in my apartment. If I don't make a sound, it's going to be this quiet. Just like that. So that was really difficult because of like the first month is very, very difficult, guys, because as much as you are excited to be here, at the back of your mind you also ask yourself questions like, what did I do? Was this really a good idea to leave everything that I know and everyone that I know, my comfort zone, and move into this country where I don't speak the language, where the people don't look like me? So that was like one of the hardest adjustments that I had to do, to be comfortable in like this apartment, to live a home where there was like laughter. Sometimes my mom would be yelling at my brother or my sister. Sometimes you would hear my sister and my little brother just bickering, and just moving in here, and it's just so quiet. And I also live in a small town that is really quiet, so even like during the day it's just quiet. So for me, I feel like that was like one of the hardest adjustment that I had to make. What are the challenges that you have faced being in South Korea besides missing your family? Besides missing my family, one of the challenges that I'm actually currently facing is the what's next. You know what? I think I want to make a video about this so that I can discuss this topic in much more details, because when you are in Korea, and I spoke about this in the previous video in part 1, guys, watch part 1 if you have not done so yet. Okay. One challenge that I'm currently facing is the what's next. So right now that I am over the Korea honeymoon phase, I'm always at the back of my mind, I always have this question of what's next? What are you gonna do next? What career path would you like to take? Are you sure about teaching? You know, I'm not saying I'm not enjoying my time in Korea. I really am, and I'm not satisfied with the experiences that I have had, or also with my stay here, to the point where I decided to stay another year, but I will talk about that in detail in the other question. But since it has marked a year, I keep thinking about what's next, and that's why I said that my time here has also been very confusing, because I don't know what's next, guys. I don't know. Like right now, I'm just living life, and I will see what's next when the time goes by. Yeah. So now we're going to be talking about category number 8, which is life as a teacher. Okay, so question number 1, what grades do you teach? I actually have a video about this. I am a middle school teacher, so I teach grade 7, 8, and 9. So my students are between the ages of 13 and 15 in international ages, I think. Yeah, so grade 7, 8, and 9. Question number 2, how has your year as an EPIK teacher been, and will you be staying for another year? My year was amazing. Like, to be honest, my school has been so good to me. Like, my co-workers and my co-teachers especially have been very good to me. Let me tell you something. The relationship that you have with your co-teachers will make or break your experience in Korea. So for me to have had such amazing co-teachers, I am eternally grateful. Even when my other co-teachers left and I got new ones, the new ones were so welcoming, so warm, and they were always very encouraging. They're always very encouraging to my work and always help me to improve. So I feel so blessed and eternally grateful to God that I have had such an amazing year. And also my students are just amazing kids, honestly. Like, I love spending time with them. I love teaching them. I love their relationship and the closest yeah. Your closeness. Is that a word? Let me Google this word. Closeness. Oh, closeness. Oh, and the closeness that we have. We have what? The closeness that we have what? Hold on. and wait, hold on. Okay, and the closeness. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna say, and how close we have become. I like that. So my year has been really amazing, and yes, I am staying for another year. I renewed my contract, and I'll be staying for another year at my school because, like I said, they are just really good to me. Yeah. How did you make teaching enjoyable for your students? They seem to engage well with you. I would say that just showing your students your personality, and sometimes just being a little bit crazy-ish to them. Like, looking for ways to relate to them and to just learn more about them. I found that my students and I grew a lot closer once I started learning their names, because when I learned their names, and I do go out of my way to learn their names, then even in class I would call them out. Like when they are talking to their friends, I'd say something like, Jibin, stop talking to your friend, or like Minji, stop talking, or like Singyu, what do you think is the answer? So afterwards, like, you know, and sometimes they'll be like, you know my name? And I'm like, Sohyun, I know your name. And they're like, oh my god, oh my god. And also finding ways to relate to them, you know. Recently I found out that my students are into Twilight, and that was a movie and book that I was into. So after every lessons, I would stay behind and talk to them about their favorite scenes and tell them that I read the books when I was like their age and also really loved the movies, and they would tell me about how they have crushes on like Taylor Lautner or like Robert Pattinson. So finding ways to relate to your students and talking to them outside the classroom about things that really interest them as well, and also learning your students' names, because I feel that every student likes to hear their name being spoken from a teacher's mouth. Like, you know, sometimes you know that that student knows the answer, but they're a little bit shy. So sometimes I would just look at them and be like, Sona, what is the answer? And then they would get like the confidence to tell me the answer, because, you know, you acknowledge them, you see them, you see that they are there. Another thing that helps me to engage well with my students is by always explaining to them that English is a language and not a measure of intelligence. So I do the listening and the speaking with my students. So when we are doing the listening, we usually read the script in English, and we also read the script in Korean so that all the other students can understand. And when it comes to reading the script in Korean, I also try to read the script with them in Korean, and like then it shows my students that I'm terrible at reading Korean, so it's okay for them to not be very good at reading English. And I always tell them that, like, guys, I am so bad at speaking and reading Korean, so let's do a language exchange. I teach you some words and you guys can also teach me some words. So like I would try to read the script in Korean, and you will see the students laughing because of like I'm making so much mistakes, or sometimes they'll be like, oh teacher, 한국 잘했네. And I'm like, stop it. Yes. So like doing things like that, showing the students that English is a language just like Korean. And like it makes them more comfortable to be around you. It makes them more comfortable to even make mistakes in the classroom, and like and that is conducive, that is very conducive to learning, creating that safe environment, that safe space where your students are even comfortable to make mistakes. So I guess that's how I did it. Okay, so question number 4. What has been the most challenging part about teaching English in South Korea? The language barrier. Teaching English is difficult. Okay, not let me not say teaching English. Teaching in general, any subject, it's a difficult job. But like when you are teaching students where there is a language barrier, it becomes even more difficult. And sometimes it kind of makes me feel just a little bit sad. Okay, maybe not a little bit, but kind of sad when I see some of the relationships that my students have with their Korean teachers, and that's because there is no language barrier between them. And like I wish I could have that relationship with some of them, but like we cannot because of the language barrier. But like besides all of that, I am still very close with some of my students. Like some of them come to me during lunch in the staff room just to say hello, and they would like try to make a conversation with me, and I am so grateful of that. But like the language barrier has made it more challenging. Yeah. What are the best and the worst part of your job? So the worst part, I would say that is the language barrier, and also sometimes when you try to explain a concept or introduce a concept, and you see that the student has the will to learn, but they don't quite understand because of the language barrier. And also the worst part is that my classes have mixed levels. I have students who will tell me like, oh my goodness, I watched Twilight yesterday, it was amazing, Robert Pattinson is so cute, I want to marry Edward Cullen. And I also have students where if you ask them how are you, they cannot answer, or they will say fine, but they are not able to make conversations further. So that is also quite challenging, to have different levels, because sometimes you explain a concept and a student, after you explain it, they get it, but the other student, you also have to explain it maybe 3 or 4 more times, and like that other student who's like more advanced, it's kind of like it's boring, it's easy, or you have said this before. So but like the best parts about being a teacher in Korea is when a student understands the concept that you're trying to teach them, or when they use the lesson outside your classroom. I remember one time I was also teaching my students some idioms. So one time it was raining. It was like raining heavily. And one of the students, he came to the staff room and he was like, teacher. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, it's raining cats and dogs. And I was like, oh my God. I was so happy, guys. I was so happy that he was able to use something that I taught him in class outside of the classroom. I was like, just wait, just stay there. And then I opened my desk and gave him a pack of Skittles, because students love sweets, they love candy. Yo! All right. And also, when you see your students being more confident when they interact with you, more confident in the classroom. Because I remember my first time teaching my students, like when I would ask them a question, they would not answer because they didn't know me. I didn't know them. They didn't know the type of person that I am. But now that we have been together for like a year or so, they are confident. Like they can like just put their hand up and like answer, or sometimes they could put their hands up and ask me a question like, why is it like that? So those are the best parts, having that teacher and learner relationship, and also learning from your students as well. So I like that. So the other question was, where do you get ideas about lessons for middle school students? There are a lot of platforms like Coursera and a lot of Kakao groups as well. There is a Kakao group for middle school teachers where people would share materials and the lessons. And also it's easy for me because I teach from a textbook, so I already know what the key expressions are. So I just have to be creative about my lesson and make a lesson out of them. So it's kind of easier. So now we are going to category number 9, and these are future plans. And I have a lot of questions. Like a lot of people were asking me about my future plans. So the first question was, are you extending your contract? Yes, I am extending my contract. I did extend my contract. And question number 2 is, do you have a year limit? For example, you can only stay in Korea for up to 3 years, or can you stay longer? You can always stay longer. So you can always renew your contract with your school, or you can transfer to another school. There are some people who have been here for 10 plus years while teaching English. So no, Korea is not like the JET program where they give you a certain amount of time that you can work for. And the other question was, where else would you like to teach? So I got this question a lot. I do not know. I was also thinking about this, and like, guys, I don't know. I don't have it all figured out. I don't know. I had this conversation with my co-teacher not so long ago, and I was telling her that I don't know if I would like to teach elsewhere after Korea, because, or even after this school that I'm in, because my school, I'm enjoying my experience. I'm loving my experience. Like I said, they are very good to me. So I don't want to change my school and then go to a school where I won't have a good experience and I'll always be looking back. So I was just telling her that I don't know. You just never know what the future is gonna hold. That for now, as of right now, and I could change my mind later, I think that if I make the decision to leave my school, I would like to get a job elsewhere. I would like to get a non-teaching job. I'd like to do something else because I would like to end this teaching experience on a good note with like happy memories. And I feel like if I move to another school or anything, I might taint those memories or that experience. But like I said, I could still change my mind. This is just their opinion that I have for now, or the thought that I have for now. I could still change my mind. And the other question was, how long do you want to stay in Korea? I don't know. I told myself that I will know when it's time to leave. And right now, I don't think it's time for me to leave yet. There are so many things that I'd like to do in Korea, so many places that I would like to visit as well. So right now, I don't think I'm leaving anytime soon, but I don't know how long I want to stay here. And like the other question was, do you see yourself permanently living in Korea? No. No, I don't. I don't see myself permanently living in Korea. And this is because if you watch my first video, you know about the experience that I had when I walked into Daiso. So for those who do not know, I'll just give a brief explanation. So there's this store called Daiso. It's really cheap, like they sell stuff for a cheap price. So a friend of mine walked into Daiso after he had been a year while living in Korea, and this Daiso was in my town. So when we walked in, there was a little kid, and when he saw me, he announced my arrival to everyone in Daiso. He was like, "Oh ma, we was saw," which means, "Mom, a foreigner has just arrived." And I'm just thinking, it has been a year since I've been living in this small town, and you're gonna announce my arrival in Daiso? So as funny as that experience was, and I don't think about it as a bad experience. This was a little kid who was literally about 6 or 7 years old, but like it also made me aware that it doesn't matter how long I live in Korea or if I speak the language fluently or not, I will always be viewed or seen as a foreigner. And I would like to settle in a country or a place where I feel like a participating member of the society or a valuable member of the community and society, where I feel like I belong and I am part of the people as well. And as much as I'm loving Korea, I don't think that I could ever have that because I will always be a Wegui, a foreigner. Yeah. And the other question was, would you ever go back and work in South Africa? 100% yes, absolutely. If I could find a well-paying job with good benefits in South Africa, I would move to South Africa in a heartbeat. I love South Africa, guys, but South Africa is a great country if you have a well-paying job or if you are just from money, okay? But yeah, I would definitely love to move back or work in South Africa. And the other one was like, where would you like to eventually settle? By the way, I love you. How could you make me blush like that? I don't know. Okay, to answer your question, I don't know. Like, I'm still young. I feel like I'm still young. I'm still trying to figure out who I am. I'm still trying to figure out what it is that I want to do with my life. So I feel that it's okay to not have it all figured out. As time goes by, I will figure it out. Who knows? Maybe I will move to another country and I'd be like, this is it. Or who knows? Maybe I will finally meet my Korean oppa and then settle here. I don't know why I did that. But who knows? Maybe one day I'll change my mind about living in Korea or settling down in Korea. You just never know. But for now, I don't know. And the other question was, congratulations on your 1 year anniversary. What made you decide to stay? My school and my students, honestly. Guys, you're probably sick and tired of hearing me say this, and like I said, it's a blessing to have an amazing experience in Korea, because that's not the reality for everyone. There are so many people who don't have good experiences at all. Some people are bullied at their school or like emotionally abused. They experience a lot of racism or discrimination at their school, but I haven't experienced that. And when I thought about all of that, it was so easy for me to decide to stay 1 more year. And the other question was, when are you going back home, or are you staying in South Korea for a year? Oh yeah, I'm staying in South Korea for a year and going back home. I don't know when exactly I'm going to be going back to South Africa, but I think I'll go back to visit in the near future, because it has been a while since I last saw my family, but I can't say for sure when exactly. And the other person was like, hey Letty, what's next for you? I don't know. And I feel that I have already answered these questions. And now we are going on to category number 10, which is future videos. Yay, I like this category. So first question was, can you make a collab with an August EPIK intake teacher and do a cost of moving to South Korea after COVID? Yeah, I have already spoken to a couple of people and asked them if they would be comfortable and are willing to have a sit down video and have a chit chat with me about how much it cost them to move here. So I would love to make that type of video, because things have changed. Quarantine is no longer mandatory, so the prices have also changed as well. So I'd like to make that. And your honest opinions on Korea, expectations versus reality. You know what? I feel like for this question, I want to invite some people over to have this conversation. Like, I feel like a lot of people will have different things to say. So one day I'd like to make a sit down video about this topic. So for now, I won't answer this topic, but I'd like to make a video about it. And the other one was, hey Letty, enjoyed your Jeju Island vlog. It would be fun to see a day in my life video if that's feasible. That is most definitely feasible, yes. And thank you so much for watching my Jeju Island vlog. I love that vlog too. Guys, if you have not watched it, I would really advise you to watch that vlog. Like, it's a vlog where I'm having such a great time with my friend in a very beautiful island here in Korea called Jeju Island. So if you have not watched it, please do check it out. I love that vlog. So yeah, those are future videos. I'd like to make a cost of moving to South Korea after COVID video, and also expectation versus reality video, as well as a day in my life. That it's possible to make those videos, and I have like a long list of videos that I would like to make. Right now we are going to be doing the last category, which is trivial stuff. So these questions are just questions where some of my friends and some of the people I follow and who follow me on Instagram, they were just having fun. Question number 1 is, what's your star sign? I'm a Sagittarius. I am a Sagittarius. Yes, I am born on December 5th, which makes me a Sagittarius. And question number 2, what is the time difference between South Korea and South Africa? 7 hours. So there is a 7-hour time difference between the two countries, with Korea being 7 hours ahead of South Africa. And question number 2, is quarantine still a thing, or has South Korea also moved on? So I heard that it's only a thing if you test positive after your arrival. So if you test negative, you don't have to quarantine at all. I don't know anyone from the August intake who had to do quarantine. How would you describe a perfect day? Oh, how would I describe a perfect day? It would be me waking up on time and not oversleeping, which I tend to do a lot, and having breakfast, going to work and teaching all of my favorite classes, having a great lunch, which I usually do. The women at my school, guys, those women can cook for days. And coming back home, going to the gym, coming back, watch a series or two, read a little bit, and then going back to bed. For me, that is a perfect day. I know that it might sound a little bit boring for some people, but that's my day. Okay, and the other question was, which cousin do you miss the most? Okay, I don't know if it will be petty of me to say this, but the cousin that I miss the most is the cousin that will see this video. You know who you are. You know who you are. All right, good. And the other question was, why do most of you gain weight in Korea? Financially aside, why? Because we eat a lot. Let me tell you, we eat a lot. Korean food is so delicious, guys. It's so good. Oh my goodness, like all you want to do is just eat. I was one of the people who was like, when I get to Korea, I'm gonna lose weight. Wait. Lose what weight? Girl, I gained. And the other one was, find me professional football team in Korea. Itla Korea, and we'll go and look around. The other question was, why wasn't I in your suitcase when you moved to Korea? You were too far away from me to just smuggle you into Korea. If you were close to me, I would have put you in there. And so the last question is, did you apply for EPIK with the help of an agent? Yes, I did. I applied with Gold Key Education, but as of, I think, 2022 EPIK is only working with Korea Consulting as they are recruiter. So for anyone who wants to move to South Korea with EPIK program, and also want to apply with recruiter, I advise you to contact Korea Consulting, because they are the only recruiter that EPIK has chosen to work with. And that, guys, concludes my Q&A live update video. To each and every single person who asked me a question just so that I can make this video, I am so grateful. Thank you so much. And if I missed anyone's question, guys, it's not because of I hate you or anything like that. No, I probably missed it because I didn't see it. And also, I've only found out later that Instagram erases some of your notifications. So some of the questions, I couldn't see them because they were erased by Instagram. Thank you guys so much. If you have reached this far, please do leave a comment and like this video and subscribe if you haven't. I mean, you watched the whole thing. Why have you not subscribed? You might as well just subscribe. And for those who have already subscribed, thank you so much. I'm currently on 2,760 subscribers, and I am so grateful to each and every single one of you. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. 감사합니다. 안녕.